Clarissa gently nestled the VR headset back over Emily's eyes once more. The now familiar soft blanket was tucked snugly around her, the chair humming lightly beneath her body like a mother's heartbeat. The room still smelled faintly of vanilla, lavender, and something sweeter. Something like baby powder. Emily sighed in contentment, letting herself drift. Again, she was soothed by slow, serene images, rolling clouds across a brilliant blue sky, gentle waves lapping against a peaceful shore. This time, the background music was even softer, like a music box melody, the kind that would lull a child to sleep. Emily's eyelids fluttered, and then she was gone. When she opened her eyes, she was standing on a bright, foam-tiled floor. Everything around her was bigger: the tables, the walls, even the sunlight that flooded through the windows. No, she was smaller. Her hand reflexively touched the front of her pink corduroy overalls. She looked down at herself, a tiny little girl, her legs short and chubby, her shoes velcroed tightly over striped socks. Her hair was in two springy pigtails, and she could feel the soft tug of the barrettes holding them in place. It was a familiar sight. A memory tucked away so deep it felt like a dream. Preschool. She smelled crayons, glue sticks, finger paints, and graham crackers. It was all so vivid, not like remembering something, but living it. Children buzzed around her, laughing and squealing in their high, musical voices. Colorful posters of smiling animals and the alphabet lined the walls. Low bookshelves held bins of toys, blocks, puzzles, dress-up clothes. The world felt big and safe all at once. The morning was joyful. Emily colored a picture of a bunny rabbit at one of the small round tables, her chubby fingers gripping a thick purple crayon. She was praised by Miss Lauren, her teacher, who knelt down and gave her a sticker with a big, shiny star on it. Emily flushed with pride, sticking the star right onto her shirt. After coloring, they moved to story time. Miss Lauren pulled out a big book, The Bear Who Wouldn't Hibernate, and all the kids clustered around her on the story rug, cross-legged and wide-eyed. Emily sat between Katie and Jason, wiggling with excitement as the story unfolded. But then it happened. In the middle of the story, while sitting cross-legged on the soft rug, Emily felt a sudden, uncomfortable tightness in her tummy, the kind she vaguely recognized but often ignored. She shifted her weight. Maybe it will go away, she thought. The story was too interesting to leave now. She didn't want to miss the bear's adventures. But nature didn't wait. Before she could even stand or call out, the pressure burst forward, a sudden hot rush of liquid warmth soaking her underwear and pooling into the soft fabric of her overalls. She gasped audibly, her small body freezing in place. The warmth spread quickly, darkening the pink material in a shameful bloom between her legs. Her heart thudded loudly in her ears. Time slowed. Did anyone notice? Miss Lauren's gentle voice broke through the haze. Oh, sweetheart. It's okay, Emily. She took her hand softly, not scolding, not angry, just tender. Emily's face burned. Her cheeks were flaming red, and she kept her eyes glued to the floor as she was led quietly from the group. The world felt huge and overwhelming. A rush of emotions stormed through her tiny mind. Embarrassment, fear, shame, and beneath all of it, something smaller, something quieter. A need for comfort. A need for someone to tell her it was all going to be okay. Miss Lauren knelt before her in the little bathroom area, smiling kindly. "It's all right, sweetheart. Accidents happen." Her teacher gently helped her step out of the sodden overalls and underwear. Emily stared down at her socks, blinking back tears. Miss Lauren used warm, soft wipes to clean her up, speaking soothingly the whole time. And then Emily saw it. The cabinet opening. The package being pulled out. Pull-ups. The crinkly sound of the packaging was deafening to her small ears. Miss Lauren opened one with a practiced flick, the soft, colorful training pants decorated with little pastel stars and moons. Emily's chest tightened. She remembered being told a few weeks ago that she was a big girl now, ready to wear real underwear like the other kids. Now, being put back into pull-ups felt complicated. Part of her, the stubborn, proud part, wanted to protest. "I don't need them. I just forgot. It was an accident." But another part of her, the part that still longed for naps, cuddles, and sippy cups, didn't mind. In fact, as the pull-up was slid gently up her legs, hugging her securely, she felt a tiny wave of relief. It was soft. It was safe. It meant she didn't have to worry so much. Miss Lauren fastened her new pink leggings over the pull-up, ruffled her hair fondly, and gave her a reassuring pat on the back. "There we go, princess. Good as new." Emily wobbled a little as she walked, feeling the slight puff between her legs, the whispery crinkle with every step. Her pride stung. But deep down, she also felt an odd, dreamy comfort. Maybe it was okay to still need a little help sometimes. Maybe being little wasn't something to be ashamed of after all. Later that afternoon, during outdoor playtime, the second accident came even easier. Running, laughing, the sun on her face, she was having so much fun that the warning signs barely registered. One moment she was chasing a rubber ball across the playground, and the next she felt the hot, sudden rush in her pull-up, soaking it warmly. This time she didn't cry. She just froze for a second, feeling the padding swell gently between her thighs. Miss Lauren appeared almost instantly, reading her tiny, worried face like a book. There, she said, crouching to her level. "That's why we have your special pants, Sweet Pea. No worries." Again, she was led inside, wiped gently, and slipped into a fresh pull-up. Each time, the touch, the care, the kindness, it all wrapped around her like a warm blanket. Emily clung to her stuffed unicorn afterward, sitting quietly at the table with the other kids as they drank juice boxes and ate graham crackers. She didn't feel like crying anymore. Instead, she felt small, safe, and accepted. No one teased her. No one laughed. In this world, even accidents were forgiven. In this world, she was still loved, still a good girl. As the memory softened and faded, Emily stirred in the reclining chair back at Rejuvenate. The headset was lifted away once more, and the real world rushed back in. But something was different. It was as if she felt the unmistakable hug of padding around her waist, the soft, snug fit of a pull-up wrapped around her hips. When she shifted slightly and thought she heard the faintest crinkle under the blanket, a blush bloomed on her cheeks even before she fully processed it. But before she could sit up or react, Clarissa leaned in, smiling warmly, speaking in that same syrupy, nurturing voice. "There's my precious little one," she cooed. "She's a sweetheart. You're doing so well. Just one more little trip, and then you'll be all done." Emily, still adrift in that hazy, dreamlike warmth, could only nod. Her heart beat a little faster, not with fear, but with a strange, sweet anticipation. One more trip, she thought dreamily. One more chance to feel even smaller, even safer. She snuggled deeper into the chair as Clarissa gently nestled the headset back into place. "Good girl," she whispered. And with that, Emily drifted away once more, ready to sink even deeper into her rediscovered innocence. The headset slipped over Emily's eyes once again, its edges pressing softly against her temples like a mother's hands tucking her into bed. The familiar melody, the tinkling lullaby of distant music boxes, began to play in her ears. She sighed deeply, her breath slow and easy, the last bits of tension leaving her body. The soothing images rolled by, soft clouds, twinkling stars, a mobile spinning gently overhead, and then, once more, she drifted. When Emily opened her eyes, the world was massive. The ceiling stretched impossibly high above her. The couch nearby looked like a towering mountain. She shifted, trying to move, and realized with a start that she couldn't stand. Her body flopped awkwardly onto her tummy, her legs kicking clumsily behind her. She was crawling, only crawling. A pacifier bobbed gently in her mouth, and without thinking, she suckled it contentedly. It was a soft, rhythmic comfort that filled her mind with simple, happy blankness. She caught sight of herself in a mirror set low on the floor. Her heart stuttered. Emily looked down at herself. Her body was tiny, plump, and dressed in an absurdly frilly outfit, a sparkly pink romper with a puffed tutu-like skirt made of layers of satin and lace. Tiny white booties covered her feet, and soft mittens were tied gently around her chubby hands. A bonnet framed her face, tied under her chin with a satiny ribbon. And right across her chest, embroidered in big curly letters, it read, "Mommy's Princess." Her body was tiny, soft. helpless. She could feel the thick padding of her diaper cradling her bottom with each wobbly crawl forward, and the silky feel of her frilly pink skirt brushing against her thighs. The pacifier bobbed rhythmically between her lips, and she suckled it as naturally as breathing, each pulse soothing her nerves. She looked impossibly sweet, almost ridiculously so, her cheeks rosy, her lashes long and fluttery over wide, innocent eyes. Her heart twisted with 1,000 emotions at once: pride, humiliation, surrender, comfort, all swirling together until she couldn't tell where one ended and another began. Mommy appeared, smiling warmly, her arms reaching down to lift her tiny body with practiced ease. Mommy scooped her up and settled her into a towering high chair. The tray clicked into place, locking her in securely. A big pink bib was fastened around her neck with the words "Little Angel" written across it. Mommy cooed softly as she spoon-fed Emily sticky, sweet-smelling baby food, mushed bananas, peaches, and something green she couldn't quite name. Every few spoonfuls missed her mouth, smearing her cheeks, but Mommy only giggled and wiped her tenderly with a soft cloth. Emily babbled behind her pacifier, trying to form words she knew she should be able to say, but all that came out were garbled little coos and squeals. She kicked her feet happily, the frilly skirt of her outfit bouncing. "There's my precious little princess," she cooed, nuzzling Emily's cheek with a playful kiss. Emily giggled, a high-pitched, involuntary sound, as she was carried across the room and deposited gently into a massive, colorful playpen. The walls of the playpen loomed high around her, a safe, padded world where the most important thing was which toy to gnaw on next. Inside, the floor was a thick quilt covered in a rainbow of shaped stars, animals, hearts. Everywhere around her were toys plushies, rattles, stacking rings, pop-up toys, and soft blocks the size of her head. Mommy crouched outside the playpen, watching with a loving smile. "Go on, sweet girl. Play for Mommy." Emily hesitated for a moment, some thin thread of adult self-consciousness tugging at her, but it snapped almost immediately. She lunged for a nearby rattle, her mittens making it awkward to grip, and gave it a clumsy shake. It let out a cheerful jingle that made her beam behind her pacifier. She spent what felt like blissful hours stacking blocks into wobbly towers, knocking them over with glee, and chewing happily on a rubber teething ring shaped like a duck. Every so often, Mommy would cheer. "Good job, baby girl. Such a clever little one. Mommy's proud of her princess." Each praise sent a warm flush through Emily's body, filling her with giddy, childish pride. She crawled over to the side of the playpen and pressed her hands against the mesh wall, babbling softly around her pacifier, wanting more attention. Mommy giggled and leaned down, pressing her forehead against Emily's through the mesh. "Miss Mommy already? Huh, sweet pea," she teased. But then, the inevitable happened. Emily had been so caught up in her playing that she barely noticed the growing pressure in her bladder until it was too late. She froze mid-crawl as a sudden warmth spread through her diaper, soaking into the thick padding with a gentle hiss. Her cheeks burned with shame as she realized what she had done, wet herself like a helpless infant. She whimpered behind her pacifier, her tummy fluttering with a mixture of embarrassment and, disturbingly, a deep, aching relief. She continued playing with her toys, just like any other baby. But soon, nature called again. The feeling came slowly, at first a fullness in her tummy, a heavy pressure. She tried to shift away from it, crawling around the playpen, clutching Mr. Elephant tightly in her mittened hands. But she couldn't deny it for long. With a soft, involuntary grunt, she filled her diaper. The warmth spread against her skin, thick and undeniable, and Emily whimpered behind her pacifier. She knew what she had done. The shame was sharp and immediate. She was supposed to be a grown woman, yet underneath it was a deeper, more powerful feeling acceptance. This was her role, her world. She was Mommy's princess, a helpless little baby. Mommy came right away, lifting her up onto a changing table big enough to hold her tiny form easily. Did my baby girl have an accident? She cooed sympathetically. Strong arms lifted her effortlessly out of the playpen. Emily squirmed in her arms, her legs dangling helplessly. It's okay, sweetums. That's what your JP is for. She was laid down on a soft, padded changing table, decorated with pastel rainbows and cartoon clouds. Mommy hummed a sweet lullaby as she unsnapped Emily's frilly romper, revealing the swollen, yellowed diaper beneath. Emily turned her head to the side, sucking furiously on her pacifier, desperate to distract herself from the shame burning inside her. But she couldn't block out the sensations. The crinkly sound as Mommy ripped the diaper tapes open. The cool air hitting her damp skin. The soft, wet wipes cleaning her tender bottom with gentle, maternal strokes. The sweet, familiar scent of baby powder puffing into the air as Mommy dusted her thoroughly. Each step of the diaper change was a slow, methodical reinforcement that she was nothing more than Mommy's helpless baby girl now. Every time she wriggled or fussed, Mommy would simply pat her bottom and say, "There, sweet baby girl. All clean for Mommy now." Finally, a fresh, thick diaper was slid under her bottom, drawn up between her legs, and taped snugly in place with little pink tabs decorated with dancing ponies. "All nice and dry for Mommy," she crooned, resnapping the romper and giving Emily's padded bottom a playful pat. The day flowed on. A gentle nap in a crib draped with gauzy white curtains. The feeling of being tucked in, a pacifier placed carefully back into her mouth. A warm bottle pressed to her lips when she stirred. Later, to Emily's astonishment, there was even nursing. Mommy's arms cradled her close, guiding her to a soft, warm breast. Instinctively, Emily latched, her whole body relaxing into the rhythmic, nourishing suckling. It was embarrassing beyond words. Yet it filled her with a sense of peace so deep she felt tears prick at her eyes. The stroller ride was next. Mommy buckled her into a massive, plush stroller, fitting her snugly with a 5-point harness that clicked into place. Emily couldn't even think about standing. The harness hugged her too tightly, forcing her into a babyish recline. A soft baby blanket, pink with little hearts, was draped over her lap, and Mommy tucked her pacifier back into her mouth. "Comfy, sweet baby?" she asked with a grin, gently tickling Emily's chin. Emily nodded shyly, cheeks pink. She felt so vulnerable, so exposed, yet the gentle attention made her heart flutter with warmth. Mommy wheeled her out into the sunny park, pushing her at a slow, soothing pace. Passers-by stopped and cooed. "Look at her. What a beautiful baby girl." Emily's face burned beneath her bonnet, but she couldn't protest. Instead, she clutched a plush bunny Mommy placed in her lap and suckled her pacifier, the tension melting away under the rhythmic movement of the stroller. It was safe here. She didn't have to think, didn't have to act, didn't have to be anything but exactly what she was. Just Mommy's little princess. As the sun began to set in the VR sky, Mommy wheeled her back inside. There was a final bottle feeding, warm milk, sweet and comforting, dripping lazily into her mouth, before she was once again cradled in Mommy's arms and rocked gently. "You've been such a good baby today," Mommy whispered against her forehead, her breath warm and sweet. Emily sighed, her body completely limp with contentment, the bulk of her diaper thick and warm between her thighs. She had surrendered. Completely. Her mind floated in that blissful, mindless baby space, her only needs to be fed, changed, cuddled, and loved. And then, slowly, the dream dissolved. The music faded, the world blurred, and Emily stirred awake. The VR headset was lifted carefully from her face. The real spotlights came back into focus. But something was wrong, or very, very different. She tried to sit up. Her body moved like an adult's again, longer limbs, greater strength, but the sensations around her hadn't changed. The soft crinkle, the bulk between her thighs, the tight hug of a thick, puffy diaper around her hips. She tried to sit up and immediately felt the bulk of the diaper wrapped snugly around her hips. She looked down and saw the soft pink outfit, shimmering slightly in the light. The layers of lace, the puff of a tutu, the booties and mittens still encasing her hands and feet. The satin bonnet tied sweetly under her chin. The words across her chest, glittering in silver thread. "Mommy's princess." The same outfit from the VR world. Emily gasped softly, blushing furiously. Clarissa was standing nearby, beaming like a proud mother. Her voice when she spoke was syrupy sweet, as if she were addressing a real baby. "There's my darling girl. Look how precious you are, sweetheart." Emily tried to form words, but all that came out was a soft, confused whimper behind the pacifier still bobbing in her mouth. Clarissa giggled warmly and reached out, brushing a stray lock of hair back under the bonnet. She was adult-sized again, her long legs dangling over the side of the reclining chair, but the sensations of babyhood remained. the thick diaper crinkling loudly with every movement, the bonnet soft against her hair, the pacifier bobbing lazily between her lips. Clarissa stood nearby, beaming down at her like the proudest mommy in the world. "There's my sweet princess," she said in a sugary voice. Emily tried to speak, to question, to protest, but the words caught in her throat, reduced to a confused whimper. Emily's heart pounded wildly in her chest, part of her desperate to protest, part of her flooded with a giddy, shameful exhilaration. She squirmed in the chair, feeling the diaper squish slightly under her, the mittens making her hands clumsy, helpless. The sensations were overwhelming. Soft. Warm. Inevitable. She wasn't just playing baby anymore. She was the baby. "Shuh, baby girl," she whispered, kissing her forehead. "You've come such a long way. And now you're exactly where you were always meant to be." And despite everything, the embarrassment, the confusion, Emily's heart melted. Because deep down, a part of her knew Clarissa was right. She was home. She was Mommy's princess.